Hello and welcome to Veterans Medals Workshop. I'm your host Frank Foster, and today we have a very interesting show. We're going to take a look at the Vietnam veterans of the 173rd Airborne Brigade unit patch, its symbolism and its history. You might also call that a shoulder sleeve insignia. We're going to take a look at the unit crest, or the distinctive unit insignia, however you want to call it, and its symbolism. And then we will take a look at the medals that every member of the brigade would have earned while serving in Vietnam. Well, for the first 30 days, the next 60 days, and so on. So don't worry, we'll move through this really quick. So, okay, let's go. The 173rd Airborne Brigade, Sky Soldiers, well, they came to Vietnam early and they stayed late. They deployed from Okinawa in May of 1965 and stayed in Vietnam until August of 1971. Initially at Bien Hoa, then they moved up to An Khê, then at Tuy Hoa North, and then finally at Bong Son. During their time there, they were always engaged in heavy combat. In fact, the 173rd Airborne Brigade took some 10,000 casualties during its time in Vietnam, and that was 5 times the losses of the 187th Airborne Regimental Combat Team when it was in Korea. 4 times as many as the entire 11th Airborne Division took in the Pacific during World War II, and more than either the 82nd Airborne Division or the 101st Airborne Division suffered in their World War II campaigns in Europe. They came there early, they stayed late, and they fought hard. Brigade shoulder sleeve insignia, shown on the left, is a blue cylinder with white borders and a vertical white wing in flight with the lower part of the wing hooked around a red bayonet. Attached above the insignia is a blue tab inscribed Airborne. The bayonet refers to the brigade being an infantry unit, and the wings refer to it being carried in an airborne status and delivered from above. The red, white, and blue colors are the national colors. The brigade crest, or distinctive unit insignia, is loaded with symbolism and shown in the upper left. It's a simulated parachute and stylized wings referring to the airborne mission of the brigade. The sword point to the base, implying from the sky to the ground, and the hilt against the red section of the parachute canopy alludes to the combat assault jump made by the brigade in February 1967. The first such jump made by any unit in Vietnam, and is indicated by the V form between the 2 lightning flashes on the V-shaped silver edge blue area. The single sword also alludes to the other brigades first, such as the 1st American ground unit in Vietnam, the 1st in War Zone C and D, and the 1st in the Iron Triangle. The lightning flashes are also symbolic of the brigade's striking power and surprise and rapidity of movement, and I can guarantee you they moved a lot. The key units within the brigade was, of course, the 503rd Airborne Parachute Infantry Regiment, shown with their distinctive insignia on the left, and their patch from World War II with the eagle descending on the rock. Then the 319th Airborne Field Artillery Battalion, then D Troop of the 17th Cavalry Regiment, and then finally on the far right is the unauthorized insignia, but well known within the brigade, of the 173rd Airborne Long Range Reconnaissance Patrol, or known colloquially as the LRPs. He's going to say, hey, wait a minute, you just said D Troop, that's an armor unit. What's it doing in an airborne unit? Well, we did have one attached, and there's a photograph of their 113 in the background during the Battle of Tuy Hoa North. Time out, please. If you're enjoying this show, please subscribe. It will keep us on the air. Thank you. Now I want to take a look at the basic medals that every soldier who served in the 173rd in Vietnam would have received. Most young troopers landed in their khakis with their airborne badge and their National Defense Service ribbon on the chest. And here is a display case on the right that would show, well, if you were going to do a display case on your way to Vietnam or just being assigned to the 173rd, this is what it would look like: a parachute badge and a National Defense Service Medal. After 30 days in Vietnam, our young infantry soldier would have been awarded the Vietnam Service Medal, and after 30 days in country may have qualified for the Combat Infantryman's Badge. After 6 months in Vietnam, our young infantry soldier would be authorized the South Vietnamese Campaign Medal because that was for 6 months in country and may have been qualified for other awards by then, but now I'm showing the basic 3 medals after 6 months that our young soldier would have earned. At the end of his tour in Vietnam, our young infantry soldier would have earned the Good Conduct Medal, the National Defense Service Medal, the Vietnam Campaign Medal, and the Vietnamese Campaign Medal. And if he had a display case presented to him as he left, it would have the shoulder sleeve insignia of the 173rd at the top, his U.S. and crossed infantry rifle collar insignia, his distinctive unit insignia or unit crest, his combat infantryman's badge, his parachute badge, and in this case, he has 4 campaign stars on his medal for Vietnam service. That could vary depending on the time he was there, but if he was there in 67 or 68, it would not be unusual to have covered 4 different campaigns. At the very bottom of his display case, just above his nameplate, would be the Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry unit citation issued to everyone who was in the 173rd Airborne Brigade in Vietnam. I'd like to point out here that many members of the 173rd Airborne Brigade received additional decorations. For example, this captain received a Bronze Star with V device for valor, the Purple Heart, multiple awards of the Commendation Medal, and in addition to his campaign medal, he also has the Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry, Civic Action Medal, and after his Vietnamese campaign medal, a commemorative medal. Summary, every soldier assigned to the 173rd Airborne Brigade during Vietnam would have received a National Defense Service Medal, the U.S. Vietnam Service Medal, the Vietnam Campaign Medal, the Republic of Vietnam Gallantry Cross Unit Citation, and most of the enlisted personnel would have received a Good Conduct Medal, but not all. Thank you for watching today. All of the information came from my latest book, Medals, Badges, and Insignia of the U.S. Army in Vietnam. It will be out this summer, and I'll put a video out so you can leaf through it. I think you'll find it a very interesting book and the most complete reference to every medals, badge, and insignia worn by the United States Army during the Vietnam War. Okay, see you next time on Veterans Medals Workshop. If you would like more information on United States military awards for the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, or Coast Guard, well, even the Merchant Marine, check out our books on Amazon.